the crypt.
Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome to episode 61 of Dads from the Crypt, Tales from the Crypt podcast. My name is Jason, and tonight I'm joined by Jody.
Hello.
And Mondo.
Hey.
Hi. And tonight we're joined by our good friend, returning guest, Galen.
Hey, hello. Oh, hi.
How are you?
I can't complain.
Can't complain. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, what's new? What you've been working on?
Let's see. Well, I've got in keeping with the spooky season, I have two projects that are actually for those in the LA region. I have two projects that are screening at Screamfest. Which is one of the premier horror film festivals, and that's here in Hollywood. And I have two projects there. One is a Thomas Jane vampire horror comedy called Slayers, and the other is a genre anthology film that's in response to the Roe v. Wade overturn called Give Me an A.
I saw some news about that one just recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has incredible people involved like Virginia Madsen, Alyssa Milano, many others. So that's so those are both showing at Screamfest this year. So nice. Yeah, definitely check that out. And then
what day are they showing?
Let's see. Slayers is the 14th, and Give Me an A is the 17th.
Okay, because I think I might go. There's gonna be the premiere of the documentary Living with Chucky.
Yes.
I think I might be going to go see that.
Cool. Nice. Cool. What day is that?
I think it's Saturday.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the same day, same weekend as Monsterpalooza. Son of Monsterpalooza to be
Son of Monsterpalooza, yeah.
And I always go to that, but I kind of feel like taking a break this round and go to the premiere. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be great. Yeah, that one's definitely getting a lot of buzz. Yeah, it looks like a really fun lineup this year, and I've got some friends with some films showing as well. So yeah, it should be a good lineup.
Nice. All the cool stuff happens in LA.
There's a fair bit of cool stuff here.
It's pretty cool.
There's some very cool things that happen here. I will say I am rather spoiled.
Do you have any secret projects you can disclose?
secret projects.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Nothing on the horizon in that regard. At least nothing that I can talk about. So. Yeah, but yeah, as soon as there's anything exciting that I'm not contractually bound to silence, I can't wait to disclose. So
excellent. Well,
yeah.
Then maybe when you come back for next season, we'll have some more news.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm definitely hoping to make the convention rounds next year. I think nice. I think unfortunately by the time the Boba Fett came out this year, there was I had my convention agent lined up. There was so many of the major festivals like Celebration and others were booked up. So so I'm so I'm excited to jump into that fray next year.
That's an interesting question. So do you have an agent specifically for conventions?
Yes. Wow. Yeah, that's there is a there are agents who deal in primarily with conventions and appearances, public appearances and that sort of thing. So nice. So panels, festivals, etc. That's
Awesome.
they deal with all of that. So
Okay.
so it's very cool.
Okay, we have some announcements.
Hey, real fast. We're just not going to
Sure,
talk
yeah.
about the other cool thing that happened in Los Angeles this past weekend.
Oh, no, that was like 2 weekends ago.
About 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks ago. Man, I'm way behind. I was in Los Angeles. That was pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah,
and
that was cool.
got to meet Jason in person for the first time.
I
So,
know. If you
that
Oh,
was
yeah.
pretty rad. That was
follow us on
pretty rad.
Instagram, yeah, we Jason and Mondo, we got to have some sausage together.
I
Okay.
I'll
not gonna say
I'll ask
anything
no
after
questions. Won't ask
I-
any questions.
I did stroke his beard first, and I did get some free stickers out of the deal. So it's
Not
all
only that,
Was
what
there-
else, what else did you get?
Was it a mutual beard stroking? Is the question.
No, he didn't touch my beard at all.
Really?
But you know,
that's I would.
Disappointing.
That is disappointing. I think you both have ample beards to stroke. So
Well, so when he did hug me, Jason is like 6'9". He's a very tall man.
Not quite, but yes.
And I'm around like 5'11" on a good day, and at least when I gave him a hug, I kind of rubbed my beard on his bosom, so it's fine.
Yeah.
okay, got it.
No, but it's really cool to see him. And he also got me a really cool gift, and it was it's from the Desk of Owl Cats, autographed by basically everyone behind Demon Knight.
That's
That's so cool.
It's really cool. I have not gotten a place to figure out where I'm putting my office yet, but it's actually probably going to go behind my monitor, which you guys can't see because that's what I'm looking at right now. But I'll take a picture of that and have Jason shoot it up on our Instagram.
Yeah.
But I took my wife out there to see Rammstein. I hate Rammstein, so I hate them. Not my cup of tea. I don't hate them.
Not for you. Not
Yeah.
for you.
They're
You
not.
know
Led Zeppelin or anything like
you know
that.
who else was there? Bill Mosley was.
Bill
posting about
Mosley.
it.
And
Yeah.
what's funny is I showed Kel where he was standing, and she goes, I was probably like right next to him, right behind him. But everyone is so used to seeing him in the makeup. I think he probably might pass under the radar when he's but it was pretty cool. After I got there though, I was gonna I expected to have an epic rant about my travel woes, about a hotel canceling my reservation last second, and then being dick bags. But you know what? I'm not gonna do it because I'm over it. But the Holiday Express Inn downtown, fuck you. And now I'm over it.
There you go. Got out of your system.
Good.
But no,
good.
it was great to meet you in the flesh.
It was actually a really cool time.
My friend Natalie was there with her husband Jeff, and yeah, we had a great time.
And Jason won't say how nice of a guy he is. I told him my hotel was canceled, and I was trying to figure out things. He goes, "Hey man, all I have is a couch, but you can stay at my place. You're gonna have to deal with the 200 candles that are lit, but you can still stay at my place."
Oh, was there a ceremony going on?
It's a callback.
And so one of the other episodes is a scene where basically it's a husband and wife, and they decide to light 200 candles and have sex with the door open, basically with the house guest in the same.
Which episode is that?
That's Forever Ambergris.
Forever
Oh
Ambergris.
yeah. Oh yes. Right. Yeah. Forever Ambergris. Yeah.
I really hate that I missed that one. That's a good episode.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
great
really good.
episode. It's a great.
That was a real good one.
Yeah,
You're still allowed to watch it, Jody. You know that, right?
Oh no, I'll watch it. I just didn't get to talk.
But he wants to talk about it.
It's around for a while. It's
Jody, you
just-
can do a one man. We can post a 1-man review of Jody.
just
It's
me
a great-
watching
yeah.
all the stuff that I've missed.
It's a great episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a good chance we should re-record that one. That's a whole nother story.
Well. Alrighty. Okay. So on to our announcements. So we have a new segment coming up on our YouTube channel. Because they know we do have a YouTube channel where I eventually post videos of these podcasts. But we have a new segment. I'm calling it a Vault of Horror Collectors. And basically what happened was I was on Instagram, and some guy got some screen used Tales of the Crypt memorabilia. And I started chatting with him and everything. He's like, "Oh yeah, do you want a Zoom tour of my stuff?" And I'm like, "Can I just record it? We'll do something with it." So basically, hopefully it's gonna be an ongoing segment where we basically find and talk to collectors of film and TV, of like screen used props and costumes and whatnot, and they kind of give us a tour of their vault. And I already did one, and by the time this comes out, there should be one on YouTube. And it's actually really, really impressive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is something, like I said, in our YouTube channel. Just if someone, he's like in a whole community of people who are into this, and it's really fascinating to see, and some cool stories. I just love seeing people, express their fandom. So,
Oh yeah.
if anybody else wants to talk to me about having their stuff on the show, go ahead and shoot us an email at dadsfromthecrypt@gmail.com.
Yeah. Gotta love that fan flex.
And one thing we're probably going to do for our Patreon subscribers is Jody has a lot of cool VHS covers and figures. I have some cool figures and some cool not crazy memorabilia like some of these people have, but some cool stuff. And we're also going to show you guys some of that on our Patreon and show maybe little tours of our offices so you actually see what's behind us. But I'm going to clean mine first.
Most of my cool stuff's actually in front of me. You just like Mondo was saying, you can't actually see all the cool stuff.
Maybe I'll turn off my background and you can see how messy this room is.
Oh boy.
Or all the bodies are strung around.
I just want you, Jason, this is where I keep my middle school paperwork. Like just the weirdest stuff. That's all I want to see.
Yeah. Also this week I was on the CryptTube Incorporated YouTube channel talking to our friend Jonathan, who is we found him on the show before. He's prolific on YouTube with his Tales from the Crypt content, and we just shooted the shit for like an hour, and he's got some other guests coming on, so check out his YouTube channel. Good stuff.
That's rad.
And Jody, what you got?
Oh yeah, so it's spooky season, and for the last, I guess this is the 6th year now, I put together it started with every year at Halloween I liked watching 31 movies in October. But it's fun to do that on your own, but it's even more fun to do that when you've got people to talk to and people to discuss movies with. And so I opened it up a few years ago to just some of my friends, and now we're on our 6th year. We've got like a Facebook group with 300 and something people in it, and I put together a list. We watch all the movies. I make sure they're all on either Netflix or Prime, because that's what most people have. And we got a good list this year. If you are interested in joining us and watching movies with us, you can go to octoberscareathon.com. Marathon, but with a scare. And there's some good stuff. We started with Hush and My Best Friend's Exorcism, and there's a lot of good ones on there. The Video Dead, Edge of the Axe, new stuff. But anyway, just a lot of cool things for people to get involved with and talk. That's why we have the Facebook group. I would love to leave Facebook, but that group keeps me there.
Edge of the Axe, is that the kind of a slasher from the late 80s? Or
it's it's a 80s slasher from Spain, I think. It's a Spanish movie.
It's a Spanish movie, but I think it was filmed in Lake Tahoe.
No, one of my favorite genres of movie is when Italians or Spanish directors come to America and try to pretend they know what America is. It's so great. And they start like, let's show you small town America, but filtered through the lens of an Italian giallo director.
Yeah, there's a lot of really
everything
weird,
is wrong.
Yeah,
it's great.
And they've got like a computer they're trying to like connect, like talk to people through. Yeah, it's really
they're
weird.
Like early chatting. That's a fun one.
Yeah, I found that randomly this year.
But yeah, October Scareathon, you can find us on Facebook, or you can just go to the website and it's got all the links and all that stuff there. So yeah, watch some movies. It's October. Have fun.
And real quick, because I know Jody won't talk about it if I don't, but Jody's daughters are once again going international to compete in a karate tournament.
That's
and
right.
If you want to help them out and support them, it's too late to buy a shirt. But you can go and check out the website that Jody built for them, where you can donate and help these youngsters live their dream. And I'll be honest, they're pretty badass too. If their names are Grayson and Elise, and you can find them at Grayson, that's GRACYN, and Elise, ELYSE.com. And I'll link it in the episode description too, if you want to give them a hand, because I'm sure every little dollar helps when you're trying to get a giant family overseas to Wales to compete.
Yeah, they're competing in Wales this year, going to London and doing some fun stuff. But I'm real proud of them. They do some awesome stuff. Super. I don't have an athletic bone in my body. I have no idea where it comes from.
Sometimes it skips a generation. Was your dad like an athlete, or your mom?
Yeah, well, everyone in my family also has hair, so genetics are not perfect.
Jody starts
a single bald person in my entire family. Well, there is one. A single one.
This is when you start wondering, like, man, that plumber used to come by all the time when I was young as well, man.
If I didn't look and sound just like my dad, other than the hair, then yes, I would totally be asking questions.
I hope your dad still listens. And if so, we need to get him on one day. I can be granddads from the crypt.
There we go. All right. Well, let's dive into our episode of the evening. Tonight, we're talking about Two for the Show, which
Yes,
premiered
please.
on October 20th, 1993. Jody, thank God you're back to do the plot synopsis because, man, it's a real shit show. To see the least.
I take detailed notes. It's just my thing. I can't help it. All right. So we open on the Crypt Keeper as a stand-up comedian. What does that have to
Hey.
do with the rest of this episode? Nothing at all.
It
Nothing
is-
at all.
It is one of my favorite wraparounds of all time, though, because it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
just dry.
Yeah, no, it's great, but it has nothing to do with this episode.
No.
Yeah.
Just like the name Two for the Show, nothing to do with this episode. so
It
many.
does. Two for the show does.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you a little spoiler when we get into the comic book. An earlier story in this issue was called One for the Money. And then this one later in
Oh.
the book, Two for the Show. So,
Interesting.
I feel like I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So into the story here. We meet a husband and wife named Andy and Emma. They're talking at the table, and Andy's just going on and on about work and money and all this stuff. And it's kind of condescending with the way he talks to her. And in the middle of it all, Emma just says, I want a divorce. She says she's been having an affair. He wants the name of her lover, but she won't tell. She says, you're not the man I married anymore. And Andy is more worried about how this is going to look if she leaves. Like, what are people going to say? And she notices that. She gets mad at him. And then he gets even more mad and starts to strangle her. She scratches his face with a pair of scissors, and then he stabs her with the scissors, killing her. At the police station, someone calls in because they heard a scream when she was stabbed. And the officer takes the call while Officer Fine, that's his name. It sounds like a McDreamy kind of situation, but no, he's a good looking guy. Officer
He is.
Fine.
He's pretty dreamy. I'll give him that.
Yeah, Vincent Spano. Yeah, pretty dreamy dude.
So Officer Fine is over on the other line arguing with his wife very loudly in the police station. And then Fine offers to take the call. He's going to go see what's going on about this scream. And he knows the people's names and he knows the address. So he's got more going on than he's letting on. When Officer Fine arrives, Andy's trying to stuff Emma's body in a trunk, but she won't fit. And so he kind of disappears for a second and we don't see what he does. But then Andy lets the officer in and he says, yeah, there was a scream. There was a fight. My wife just left. She's left for good. She's gone to Chicago. And the officer notices some blood on the trunk, but he opens it up. Nothing but towels inside. He does find a high school ring on the floor, though. And it doesn't belong to Emma, doesn't belong to Andy. Andy says he doesn't know where it came from. And the officer keeps kind of looking around, and we find out that Emma's body is in the bathtub with a bubble bath actively running, like her face is sticking out of it. And he just runs over and adjusts the bubbles, and the officer doesn't think there's anything weird about that.
Nope,
And
not at all.
yeah, and he leaves. He says there'll be other cops coming around later, though. So Andy cuts up Emma's body after he's by himself again. He cuts up her body in the bathtub, stuffs all the pieces in the trunk, and then he takes the trunk to the train station where he checks it in as checked luggage. Whole point is he's trying to just make it disappear onto this train, and then she will be gone forever, and someone may find her, but it won't trace back to him. But then Officer Fine shows up. He is there and he sees Andy, he sees him with the trunk. And so Andy starts kind of trying to make up a story with Officer Fine standing right in front of him. He has to commit to it. He says, oh, I'm actually on my way to Chicago. Me and my wife made up and we're going to get back together. I'm on my way to see her, have kind of a second honeymoon. And Fine just keeps following him around everywhere he goes. He sits across from Andy on the train and it makes Andy really nervous. And Fine asked him a kind of a hypothetical question. Said, if you ever murdered your wife, how would you do it? He said, surely you've thought about that. So I'm like, I don't know, man. Like,
He cuts right to it. Yeah, that's
I don't know that that's a thing that I sit around like, if I had to, how would I? No, that's probably not a sign of a good relationship.
You think that you wouldn't even entertain that conversation, right? Like if someone came by and said that, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? No, I haven't
Right.
thought about that. Especially not in detail like you have, you fucking creep.
Right.
Yeah, 2 minutes into to sitting down. Yeah.
Remember when OJ wrote that book called "If I Did It,"
Yeah.
where he in detail describes how he would have killed his ex-wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little shady. All right.
Yes.
Andy says, though, I'm not a murderer. And Fine guesses that he would strangle his wife if he had to kill her. And that's exactly what Andy had started to do. So Andy gets nervous again. He goes to the dinner car. Fine joins him once again, sits down with him, eats a bite of food off his plate, which at that point I would have stabbed him because you don't come and take a bite of food off my plate.
Yeah, that's a
Note to self about Jody.
Well, you just this is a stranger who's following you from place to place.
It's a power move.
It's a power move.
It's a power move to eat the food, and then
you don't have to kill him, but at least he might have gotten his hand poked with the fork.
Man, all I know is when we meet up for Chattanooga Film Fest someday, I'm not taking food off Jody's plate. Jesus Christ.
Just ask. Just ask. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, okay, you're okay. Okay, it's the rude factor that you don't like.
It's the rude factor. He
wants
sits down
consent.
and says, "I'm going to try this," and he just takes a bite off his plate.
Yeah, and then just starts helping himself.
Yeah. So while he's
Yeah.
sitting there, Fine points out this other man behind Andy and says, "Hey, this is why I'm here. That guy right there is a drug runner. He's got $5 million worth of drugs on this train." And so Andy feels a little less nervous because, that's why the officer's here. He says, though, when we get to this next stop in 29 minutes, the train is going to be filled with FBI agents, and they're going to go over this place, go through everything. They're going to go through every piece of luggage. And obviously, Andy gets nervous again because his wife is in some of that luggage.
Mm-hmm.
Andy excuses himself, just says, I need some air, and makes a beeline for the luggage car.
He
Not
blames it on the
suspicious.
meatloaf. He blames it on the meatloaf. Yeah.
Not suspicious at all.
The luggage cart that's open to anybody anytime.
Yeah,
Right.
that was I guess it was a simpler time.
Lot of questions.
Man, how perfect would it have been when he blamed the meatloaf if when he's running away, you just see a cameo of Meatloaf sitting in one of those chairs?
What I do?
He has been on Tales before.
Yeah.
Just the season before. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he was wearing that dapper white suit that he was wearing,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That'd be
Or if it
amazing.
was the hacked up, if it was Meatloaf's hacked up body in the trunk,
Loud and funny.
like he was
Remember
like when
the
he was hacked
Meatloaf?
up in that episode, that would be great.
So anyway, he goes back to the luggage car that's just, again, open to anybody. And he finds his bag, but he also notices there's another big trunk there. So he switches the tags around to make it look like that other trunk is his, and then throws his trunk off the back of the train with Emma's parts all in it.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back to the table, feeling a little bit more relieved, a little cocky. And Fine says, "You made a mistake with the high school ring. These things are important to people, especially if you come from a small town. You would have taken pride in it. And I don't think she would have left it. I think someone gave that to her."
Real fast pause, Jody, because I wanted to ask you this question. Do you have a high school ring?
I do. And I actually know where it is. I don't wear it.
Is it important to you, though? And I truly mean this as someone like in a larger town. No one really cares out here.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say it's important to me, but it is, it's something I like having around. I like keeping it. At one point when my daughter was little, I did that thing, that like a high school boyfriend does, where you wrap yarn all the way around it so that it could fit on a small finger. And my daughter wore it around for a long time when she was little.
So yes, this is
really
important.
cute.
This is important, and I kind of love that. I was just wondering because my class size is like 400 people, in which case it's whatever. And
anyway, I do still have it. So yeah, it's small town.
That's cool.
I guess it probably does mean a little bit more.
No, I mean that genuinely. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I went to a hippie liberal arts high school where we didn't have those kinds of things.
Sure. Yeah. But anyway, he says she wouldn't have left that. That would have been too important to her. And so now Andy is very suspicious, and he thinks that Officer Fine is the one that Emma was having an affair with. So Andy takes Officer Fine and another officer back to the luggage car, and he's going to show them that there's nothing suspicious going on. He opens up his trunk, not the one he put his label on. And inside that trunk is another chopped up body. Andy starts freaking out, says, "I didn't kill this person. I did kill my wife." He confesses. And Officer Fine says, "No, that's my wife. You killed her because our wives were having an affair together." So that was the twist here, is she wasn't having an affair with Officer Fine. That was a woman's high school ring, and she was having an affair with Officer Fine's wife. And Andy's screaming that he's innocent. I only killed my wife, not someone else's wife. Come on.
Completely innocent. He's completely innocent, guys.
It's okay if it's your wife.
Yeah, he didn't kill the other wife. You know, he stays in his lane, you know?
That's going too far.
Yeah. He would never kill another man's wife.
But anyway, he gets dragged off, and the officer's asking, do you think he really did kill? The other officer's asking, do you think he really killed both of them? And Officer Fine says, no, he just killed my wife. He's real cool about it. I think the other officer would have had some questions had that just popped open and his wife was in there, and he's like, oh, okay. And just moves on with his day.
Like if anybody I knew, I knew, love them or hate them, is in that trunk, I'd be a little bit weirded out by it. I wouldn't be nonchalant about it.
You know, something. But
the other officer just says like, hey, you doing okay?
Yeah, he's like, you doing okay? He's like, yeah, it's kind of a bad.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
His reaction is like opening the fridge and seeing you're out of lunch meat. Like that was literally his reaction.
Kind of. Yeah.
No pickles.
Yeah. Not the behavior of a sociopath at all. Yeah.
Right. But Officer Fine tells the other officer, no, his wife really did run away. She ran away to Cancun. Yeah. And in the end, though, we see Officer Fine at his house with Andy's trunk there, and he's reading the newspaper about how Andy killed.
It's his trunk, right?
Yeah, it's Andy's trunk.
Yeah, it's Andy's trunk.
He's gotten Andy's trunk back that had been thrown off the train, because we see him with a hand or a cut off arm that he is feeding down the garbage disposal, and he says, well, Emma, you look pretty good for being chopped up and thrown off the back of a train. So the evidence that he left from murdering his wife, Andy got blamed for it. And then Fine covered up the murder of Andy's wife by putting her down the garbage disposal as her dead hand flips him off.
Okay, I'm with you on this, and that now makes way more sense.
It's a little complicated at the end. It's not very clear. Honestly, the only reason I realized that it was his is because in writing these synopses, I have to learn everyone's names. And so he said, Emma, you look pretty good for
okay
it. And so that's
that clears it up. Yeah, because
he's getting revenge on the woman who slept with his wife.
Yes, he's feeding her down the thing, getting rid
got
of
it. Okay, that makes more.
Andy's going to jail for killing Officer Fine's wife.
Okay, that makes so much more sense, because for the longest time I thought it was him putting his own wife's body down the
I don't know that he would have gotten that back.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why it was always weird to me. So that makes a whole lot more sense.
Would you like this trunk full of her?
Yeah, for a keepsake.
That threw me off too, because usually you can't take evidence home, and that would be evidence.
The fact that it's his wife, that makes way more sense.
He's just disposing of the additional evidence. His wife. Because that would throw the story. I guess that would make the story fall apart if Andy really did kill his wife, and so Officer Fine's hiding her body or grinding up her body.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that makes way more sense. It would still be. I'm still impressed that he was able to retrieve the trunk.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just impressed that trunk held up. Because he threw it off the back of the train and it didn't bust out with all these bloody parts everywhere.
Absolutely.
The other police officer popped that lock with a simple pocket knife in 2 seconds. Right. So it wasn't necessarily a really well built trunk. It was like a Walmart trunk or a Kmart trunk.
Right. Well, maybe Andy's trunk was, little, it was more. Yeah, he had a stronger lock on his.
Well, it had a sticker on it when he bought it. Said can be thrown from train without
train proof.
I need this. I need this one.
A little known fact
with a chopped up corpse. Yeah.
A little known fact. This is the prequel to the Sylvester Stallone joint. Throw Mama from the train.
There you go.
Sylvester Stallone.
He did that terrible movie called Throw Mama from the Train.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Yeah, we're getting mixed up. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
No, that's the one with Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito.
Mama from the Train is Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, wait, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Speaking of Danny DeVito, if you haven't Googled this, just Google Danny DeVito dachshunds. and there are pictures of him walking his dachshunds around New York City, and they all have little adorable dresses on.
Danny DeVito,
amazing, and
they're
and they're all tall, and and the dachshunds are all taller than him.
Well, that's the beauty of it, right? That Danny DeVito, one of the shortest men in Hollywood, has the shortest dogs in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
And the thing is, anytime I see a character Danny DeVito plays, especially since I'm an Always Sunny fan,
Yes,
his Frank is just repellent monster. But real Danny DeVito is like the most wholesome dude in
100%
movie
Yes.
making.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
I saw a thing where a teenage girl took a cutout of Danny DeVito to prom, and then he took her picture and printed a cutout of it and took it to the Always Sunny set.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I love
Just
Danny DeVito,
fantastic.
And kind of creepy, but yes.
the Frank,
Yeah, yeah.
the Frank
If you're
Reynolds
that
character.
teenager though, and you see that Danny DeVito actually printed your picture out, like that makes your life right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it reminds me of Adam Sandler does this. When people give him T-shirts, he always wears them.
Yeah.
And like it's cool because you'll see someone on Reddit post like, "Oh my God, Adam Sandler wore the,
So we should give my Dads from the Crypt T-shirt.
Yes, obviously." Damn, Jason, marketing over here, man. Marketing over here. All right,
I do.
like it.
I have to diverge slightly, mentioning Adam Sandler, because I spoke to an actor who was on who worked on Punch Drunk Love, and his one of his nephews was very excited about him working with Adam Sandler, and for his and when he was running for class president, part of his speech was, "Oh, and my uncle is working with Adam Sandler," and the teacher didn't believe him and says, "No, he isn't, liar." And so he was talking about this on set, and Adam Sandler overheard and then immediately like grabbed one of the camera people and made a campaign video for the kid.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
That's
And
amazing.
said, "Oh, he's, I'm voting for so and so, and he's gonna give us all candy." And it was just and like sent that to the kid and made his fucking life.
I love
yeah.
I love that like once every couple of years, Adam Sandler just makes a Netflix movie just to give all his friends jobs.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of shit I would do if I ever become rich. You guys are coming up with me. Like it's
Uh-huh.
how it is.
Do it.
At least we're getting a vacation out of it.
I need people to hang
exactly.
out with, and if I'm not working, you guys can't be working. So then who am I gonna hang out with? So Galen, you're part of this too. You also come become rich.
And
Exactly.
Very
and sometimes when he makes those movies, he makes the movie Halloween.
Are we gonna
Yeah.
talk about?
Okay. I'm gonna put a pin on that.
Yeah.
you know what?
Okay. All right.
You know what?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it right now that I think for one of our Patreon exclusive drink or token chats, I think we're gonna do Hubie Halloween now. And Jody's already nodding. So
Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm
All
in.
right.
Excellent.
All right. Let's get this on the road. Galen, what did you think of this episode?
This one is a favorite of mine. I think primarily for the performances. We seldom get more of like a whodunit kind of, or a whodunit or a why done it kind of thing. And this is this just has the sparring between Paymer and Vincent Spano is just fantastic. And there are a couple logic leaps, like a lot of them, but I think the pacing is fantastic. I'm a sucker for like a train story, and that just that really delivers. And I think the pacing of it is wonderful. I think there's incredible performances. Even Traci Lords, I think, gives a really strong performance in her one scene. I think this one, and again, it's a little bit of a change of pace, as far as it having it's not straightforward horror. They do satisfy the gore with the chopped up bodies, but this one is still just a lot of fun.
Mondo, what'd you think?
yeah, I'm with Galen on this one. I actually like this a lot more than I thought I would. I love a whodunit. I love the train aspect. Two of my favorite films are Trading Places. I love at the end when they get to the plane scene, the train scene. And also, if you guys have ever seen Horror Express,
Oh,
Yes.
with Peter
Yeah.
Cushing. I love that. And that's kind of what this reminded me of, because that movie is a whodunit set inside of a horror film.
Yeah.
Where this was more of a thriller, more of a whodunit. But yeah, and I love the play, the way the two characters play off each other.
The
It's that
sparring is fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, it's that constant game of cat and mouse, and they both think they're outsmarting one another. Except the lapse in logic. The only thing I didn't like, and this is a small gripe, is that why would you switch tags? Why wouldn't you just throw your trunk off the train? Now your trunk doesn't even exist anymore, and you can blame on the rail losing your
and the
luggage.
one trunk he chose happens to be the other one with a dead body in it.
I mean, that's very
yeah.
convenient. Yeah.
And I mean,
so here's,
yeah,
here's
and that we kind of, and then it feels like the other guy is kind of counting on him to do that,
Right.
and that's a little yeah.
Yeah, the thing about the switching the tags, like, I don't think he could just completely get rid of his suitcase, because the detective did see him checking that suitcase in. So if it's
So it would be
suddenly disappeared-
suspect.
right? That would be suspect.
Yeah, the switching the tags is a fine idea, but
that part I'm okay with.
chose the one.
Right. But I wonder if, okay, so here's my background theory. The detective went to the house and saw the trunk with the blood on it. And so maybe he was a good enough detective to piece together that he was trying to put a body in the trunk.
Mhm.
And so he got a similar type trunk to set all this up and just hope it
oh
worked.
yeah, that's one thing you learn at the end, is he definitely knew the entire time.
Oh,
what was
yeah,
going
no,
on.
this
Oh,
was all set
100%.
up.
So are you
You
saying
had
the
to.
detective broke into the luggage area and put his trunk with the other dead body right next to the other one, hoping the guy would?
You don't
Like-
have to
like
break,
make sure,
you don't have to break into this luggage area.
Well, I'm not breaking-
Anybody
yeah,
can just
exactly.
walk in
Yeah,
there.
apparently, yeah.
The one
Yeah,
thing-
unless he was like, make sure, when you store my luggage, make sure it's stored next to in close proximity to another trunk.
The one small thing they could have done just to make it all tie together would be if you would have seen the luggage tags and they both had the same name on it, like the detective wrote
Sure.
the other guy's name on
Yeah.
it too.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I was afraid that they were going to go the route of they just happened to discover another random body in the trunk.
Right.
Because I got the feeling very early on when he switched the tags, I'm like, oh, there's some shit in that trunk. Like there's probably
right.
another body in that trunk. And I thought it would be really kind of a cheesy way to go if it would just happen to be another body. And then I read the comic. We'll get to that.
But one question I have I do have a question for any of our listeners that are a little bit older than us that ever rode a train back in the early 90s. Was it that easy to gain access to the outside of the train and throw a piece of luggage off the
I'm
train?
sure not. I'm sure
I see that
not.
on movies all the
Yeah.
time. I see
I mean, I
trains in
rode, like-
movies all the time where someone's like standing on the back of the train, like out in the open.
Yeah, I mean, I rode trains like in the late 90s, early 2000s to and from college often, and yeah, that was all. Yes.
Yeah, I had
Okay.
never ridden a train until last year when I was on my trip to Austria,
Hmm.
and there was no luggage car to check your stuff in. You had to haul all your crap with you everywhere you went and just sit nearby. And yeah, I don't know what trains are like.
I don't know.
I know what the train I was on was like, and it wasn't like this.
Just throw it out there. But yeah, overall, I really did enjoy this, and I thought it was
Yeah.
a great episode of Tales from the Crypt, and for every reason that we talked about, I'm on board with Galen.
All right, Jody.
Yeah, despite my complaints about some of the logic stuff, it's a good episode. Like the good performances. Like I said, some of the things were kind of telegraphed. Like as soon as he switched the tags, I assumed there was another body in there just because it's Tales from the Crypt. But that comes from watching all of these episodes every single week. You start getting real suspicious about stuff and guessing where things are going pretty quick. But yeah, no, I thought it was a really great episode, mainly because of those performances and just the kind of noirish murder. I love that stuff. Like I love a good detective-y type story, a murderer trying to get away with it and failing. So yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, I'm with most of what we've said. The logic stuff was bugging me a lot and kind of took me out of it. But on the other hand, the extra body in the trunk I did not see that coming, told me, threw me for a loop. And the fact that it was the wives that were running off together,
Yeah.
I didn't see
I
that
didn't get
coming
that.
at all. And it's at this point, it's rare that a Tales episode gets me with a twist like that. I can usually figure them out. In this one, I don't know if I just haven't seen this one before, or like subconsciously I remember most of them, or I just haven't seen this one in so long. But I totally thought the second that the detective came on and you saw his name was fine, you see that great head of hair, I'm like, he's totally the guy that slept with the wife. So that
right, exactly.
They red herring that perfectly for me, and he's just being so creepy in the way he's just talking to him. That like I just could not figure out for life of me what his end game was.
Yeah. I think what makes him so creepy is it's like he's not like obviously creepy, but he has this weird familiarity that like he talks to him like somebody who he knows. And I think if somebody came talking to me like that, it would weird me out. Like he acts like they're friends from the very beginning. And that's a very bizarre feeling, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I thought it was a well directed episode. So this was directed by Kevin Hooks. He directed a lot of TV, Saint Elsewhere, V. He did the movie Passenger 57 with Wesley Snipes. He did some episodes of 24, Prison Break, and most recently This Is Us. He was also an actor. He was in
Sorry, I have a no, this Is Us made me laugh because when I was a young man dating my current wife now, we went to the theater to watch, like, you know, you want to watch a little romantic comedy, something to kind of cuddle up to. And we watched This Is Us, which is a movie about Bruce Willis and I don't remember who else screaming at each other constantly and getting a divorce. It was a terrible, terrible choice to go to the movie.
Story of Us.
That's right. Story of Us. That's the movie I'm thinking of.
Yeah, This Is Us is a recent TV show. It's got a lot.
I remember that show.
He directed an episode to that.
Thank you for clearing that up. But
Story
of Us
that
was a terrible date movie. In case
a great story still though.
Yeah. Rob Reiner actually was the director of that.
That is a terrible date movie.
I'm surprised Rob Reiner never did a Tales episode. It seems like right up his alley.
Really
that would have been. I would have loved that. That would have been. Yeah. Well,
he was who did like Misery and
100%. Yeah. I mean, he was still kind of in top demand.
Yeah,
you know?
True.
And he was too big.
He was at the peak right then. If they had gotten to him like in his like Alex and Emma days, it might have been they might have had a better shot.
Then we have David Paymer, who's always great. He always pops up and does a great performance.
I love David Paymer.
Great,
He was in Days of Our Lives. That was kind of one of his earlier big roles. He was in Howard the Duck, Night of the Creeps. He was one of either Ben or Jerry in City Slickers. I love that guy that they put them in there.
I watched City Slickers on an airplane recently because that movie's just freaking hilarious. I forgot.
Yeah.
It's one of those like such a pedestrian kind of comedy when it comes down to it. It's not trying to break any barriers. It's just a popcorn fun film.
I used to watch that so many times when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those movies that has a lot of dirty jokes that just go over your head.
As I loved Curly as a kid.
Yeah.
Everyone did. Yeah.
How did you?
Yeah. I think what most people remember is Jack Palance's Oscar speech in doing push-ups. Yeah.
Who's also in Get Shorty, The American President, and Drag Me to Hell.
That's right. Yeah. It's
Drag Me to Hell's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Oh, so fun. Yeah. He was also nominated for an Oscar for his role in the Billy Crystal film Mr. Saturday Night.
Right.
Which I think is actually an underrated film. That's a really sweet film.
It's one of those movies that I watched when I was younger when Billy Crystal was in his heyday. That I was probably too young to appreciate. So I probably
100%.
Watch that again.
It's surprisingly good film.
David Paymer also did some directing. He did some episodes of Gilmore Girls, Lucifer, Switched at Birth, Heart of Dixie.
Oh,
He's
cool.
kind of a jack of all trades.
Oh wait,
100%.
Real fast, going back to Drag Me to Hell. I don't know if there's a gooier PG-13 movie ever made.
Gooey.
That movie was somehow more of a gross out film than like Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah,
and it was rated PG-13.
Was Slither PG-13 or R?
That's R.
That's R.
Okay.
That's a hard R, yeah.
All right. And then Vincent Spano, he did a lot of TV. He was in the movie Alive, and he did Law and Order SVU. And again, what a fine head of hair.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, he was. He popped up in the 80s. He was kind of like like Brat Pack adjacent. He was in Rumblefish with Matt Dillon. Things like that.
Rumblefish, super underrated film.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic! A really good Coppola film. Yeah.
I shouldn't say underrated. I should say because everyone who's seen it actually loves that movie. It's just
it's underappreciated. It doesn't
underappreciated.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, underseen for sure. Definitely. Definitely. Especially for Coppola. It's not a film you hear mentioned. In his oeuvre. So.
And then of course Traci Lords. I love her as an actress. She's just always fun, and I really wish she was in more of this episode. And she actually, she usually does like a lot of kind of over the top fare, but I mean she really delivers as a serious actress in this,
And for any of our younger listeners, I'm talking about you, Tommy, at 37. But Traci Lord is such an interesting character because I think we were all too young to remember like what she was really famous for, how she broke onto the scene. But
I was aware.
We were aware, right?
Oh, sure.
But we were probably aware a little bit later in life when she already broken into movies, and the fact that she took that controversy and used it to her benefit and became a serious actress. And like you said, Galen actually does a really good job in this, and does a really good job in a lot of things she's in.
One of the and I mean one of the and really one of the few adult actresses to cross over. I mean to really successfully cross over. I mean with maybe with the exception to a degree Sasha Grey, but really one of the few to successfly make that leap.
Yeah, and she was in. I'm a huge Crybaby fan. I don't know why, but that movie just makes me so happy in so many different ways.
Jody started intently staring at his monitor. I was pretty sure he was Googling Sasha Grey.
No, I'm aware.
Yeah.
She was in some episodes of MacGyver, Married with Children. She was in the Tommy Knockers TV movie.
Oh my God! If we can make a parody of the Tommy Knockers with the Tommy Mockers. Well, that's money.
Oh boy, yeah. There is plenty to mock in that film, especially the visual effects.
So let's see. She was on Melrose Place, The Profiler. She was in an episode Gilmore Girls. I get two of those references.
Excellent.
She was in opening scene of Blade and Excision, which is a fantastic movie.
Still haven't seen that.
Great.
Yeah,
very gooey.
It's so cool.
Oh,
that's
cool.
very good.
Yeah, I've heard that's very good.
You want to see John Waters as a priest?
Yes, I do know that. And she also has a really fun comic turn in Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
That's right. She was in that movie. I didn't love that movie. I wanted to love that movie.
It's fine.
I liked it.
Oh, but I'm a Craig. I love Craig Robinson. He can do no wrong on my book.
He was very good in that. He's very good in that.
He opened for Hannibal Buress at a they did like an unexpected show here in Vegas where Hannibal posts on Twitter, "Hey, doing a show in 2 hours. Be here." So we went down there and Craig Robinson opened for him and he's asked like, look, like nobody if you pull yourself out, we're kicking you out. Like I met him in the lobby of the hotel I'm staying at and he said he'd come do this and he's playing piano and he fucks up. He goes, fuck this piano shit. And he throws it on the ground. He goes, it's cool. That's my piano. He goes, that's not my piano. Craig Robinson is like I love Craig Robinson and everything he's in.
He can do no wrong. Yeah.
All right. Jody, give us a comic comparison.
Okay. So this is from Crime Suspense Stories. I think maybe we've had another one from there, but usually
there's a few.
Stories.
Yeah. I think there's
usually
two or three
suspense stories, but this is Crime Suspense Stories number 73, number 17, June 1953. I had a little moment there. All right, story by Bill Gaines and Al Feldstein, the usual big guys, art by Bill Elder, and the last panel is by Jack Kamen, which is kind of a weird thing. So, the last panel is always for Tales from the Crypt. It's the money shot. It's where they show the big scary thing or the whatever is happening, and Jack Kamen did that one. So anyway, in this story, a man named Harry at the very beginning, he has killed his wife and he buries her in the basement. And so he plans that at midnight that night, he's going to call the police and tell them that she never came home. So he does that. And the next morning, a detective comes by and Harry says he found a note that she left saying that she was leaving him. The detectives ask if it's okay if he looks around. So he does. Harry shows him that like her clothes are gone. It mentions specifically that her underwear is gone. I'm not sure why. Maybe just 1953. It didn't take a lot to get some 10-year-old boys, excited.
Yeah, well, I'll wear jeans more than once. I'll wear a t-shirt more than once. I'm not wearing underwear more than once. If I'm running away from home, I'm taking all my underwear.
Absolutely. So
since it was the 50s, I'm surprised they didn't say delicates.
No,
unmentionables.
Unmentionables.
This is my favorite thing because you have to mention it to say unmentionable.
Yeah,
exactly.
That was Hank Hill's line for underwear. Unmentionables.
Right.
Tales from the Crypt was trying to titillate, young boys, and so just even mentioning a woman's underwear was already exciting.
Oh boy, yeah.
But then he notices her toothbrush is still there. And he said, a woman so thoughtfully packing wouldn't have left it behind. So, I mean, here's the thing. I have totally left my toothbrush behind when traveling before.
100%.
I have thoughtfully packed everything in my thing, but I have
but you're not a woman, Jody.
But what if you have a travel toothbrush?
Well, I have a travel
There's a reason
toothbrush.
why hotels have like complimentary toothbrushes if you need them.
I was about to say any hotel you go to, well, except for maybe like a Days Inn or the Hollywood Inn Express in downtown Los Angeles, would probably have a toothbrush at the front desk for you, as well as a comb, a razor, shaving cream.
Exactly.
They have all that stuff for you.
So anyway, this detective takes that one toothbrush left behind as evidence that something suspicious is happening.
No toothbrush left behind. That's his motto.
Absolutely right. Yeah. And so he says, I will investigate her disappearance. So Harry gets worried. He says, okay, so if they're going to investigate, they're going to go and they're going to see the freshly dug up basement. It's going to be a whole thing. They're going to find her. And so he brings her out of the basement, chops her up, puts her in a trunk. And so then it follows the plot of the show a little bit. Tries to ship it on the train. The detective shows up. He follows Harry around. He switches the tags, throws his trunk off. And then the detective accuses him. Harry goes to open the trunk, and they find another body in the trunk and arrest Harry. But in the last panel, we have this like really raggedy looking man like staring off into space with one of those 1,000-yard stares. And his mom is combing his hair, and he says, "Did you get rid of her, Mom?" And the mom says something about, "Yes, I put her body in a trunk and put it on a train so that no one would find her. Of course, I'm never going to follow and take that ticket." And so the thing that I was afraid would happen in this episode, that it just happened to be another body in there, that's exactly what happened in this comic. It just happened to be that this crazy man killed somebody and his creepy mother put her body in a trunk. And, luck would have it, he put the tag on the wrong thing. So I'm very glad we didn't go this route for the episode, because that's real cheesy. Like, that's real bad.
Yeah.
So if I remember correctly, is the one for the money story following the young man who kills the woman?
I did not look at it. Let me see.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
I seem to remember that there was a connection.
That feels right. Now that you're saying that feels right. Let me.
I feel like there was that connection. Yeah,
you are right. So in the comic book, One for the Money was the earlier story, and that is the story of the guy killing the woman and his. And
mother. There's a little.
Body. And then there's a little for the show. That's a callback and Tales from the
callback, a little callback.
Normally do. So that's cool. I hated the ending. Now I'm kind of on board. I think that's actually pretty cool when I see how those two stories came.
So it's not just random. It is. It's random in that world, it's
random for this story. But when you take it in the context of the entire comic book, it makes sense.
That's kind of neat.
I'm kind of down with that now. So you turned me around on the ending of that one.
Yeah, and obviously something they couldn't have recreated in the show, so they had to come up with a different twist.
Right.
Yeah, so that's cool.
I like it.
All right, let's go to our episode rating. Galen, 0 to 5. You do half points, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. What do you give it?
I do 4.5. I think, again, there's, some, some inconsistencies we pointed out, but again, this is probably I would definitely put this in my top 10
Really?
episodes. Yeah, absolutely. I think just for the pacing and the performances, the setting, and I think it's just an expertly paced episode, and just a wonderful turnaround, and it gives us that. Whenever they give us that classic like O. Henry twist, it's always just so satisfying, and so that's this one is no exception. So I give it a solid 4.5.
Way to spoil O. Henry for us.
If you've read any O. Henry, that's like any. I mean, like that was
just started The Gift of the Magi. I'm so
but I mean, I mean, that's what he was known for, is the twist. It was like, oh, it's not this, it's this. I mean, the ironic twist was kind of popularized by O. Henry.
You could say the Shyamalan of his day.
He was the Shyamalan of his day, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Jody, what do you rate this episode?
Jody, are you just taking shots?
I may have had a couple. I got a cool decanter that looks like a skull, and I left
Show it off.
I thought you meant taking shots at Shyamalan.
No, my number one rule when having whiskey
hold
is
on a
don't
second.
leave the bottle on the desk. It was splashing just then.
Okay, that bottle was much fuller.
When
he
really
showed
is.
us
Wow.
before the episode.
I've had two. Come on now, two.
Oh,
Anyway.
no, that's a twist.
Two glasses.
Anyway, no, this is a 4 for me. It's really good. There are some weird logical leaps that I just can't fully get behind. But great performances, great setup. I was surprised by some of the twists at the end. I saw the body in the box being something that was going to happen, but I had no idea about. I was fully convinced the detective was the one having the affair.
Mm-hmm.
That was a neat twist. I like that. So a really great episode.
All right, Mondo.
Yeah, I'm at a 4 with this as well. And if you told me that I was wrong, I would agree. I don't know. Like whatever, 4.5, both. It's a great episode. I think it's a great whodunit. Like Jody said, some of the logical fallacies kind of got me in this. But overall, though, when you have an episode like this, and also kudos to the director for just letting these two actors just play off one another, and that I think is really the strength of this episode. And
100%.
I believe it's one that everyone should kind of watch. And I think it's also a really cool experiment in how you have 3 real main actors in this, maybe that have a substantial part, the wife, Traci Lords, and the 2 main actors, and they kind of knock out of the park with a very, very tight script. So
really tight script.
Definitely a 4, and I was debating a 4.5, but if I have to debate it in my brain, I always go the lower score.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, I'm lockstep with both Mondo and Jody. I'm giving it a 4 for everything you just said. Great performances, well directed. Could use a little bit tighter in the plotting, but other than that, great episode. I would recommend. All right, well now we'll kick it over to our Uncle Al to tell us more about this episode. All right, Mondo, give us our song of the day.
So what I have
is it Crazy Train?
Running off the rails on the crazy. Sing it for me, Jason.
Yeah.
Let me hear that.
I can just the
voice.
I part.
Yeah. Or Rock and Roll Train from AC/DC.
Our train kept a rolling.
Night Train.
Yeah.
No. And now I feel really like inadequate because I picked nothing with trains on it. I simply picked a song because this past Friday I went and saw the Cavalera Brothers. Don't get too excited because I know you guys don't know who they are. The Cavalera Brothers, Max and Igor from the former band Sepultura. Sepultura still exists. Max and Igor formed the band and got some other people. They did their breakout record was in 1996 with Roots, where they got really tribal with their music. And then after that, the whole band had an implosion. Max left because basically his son-in-law was murdered in Brazil, and his wife, who was her biological son, was then obviously neglected some of her duties as the band's manager because her son was killed. So he left the band, like didn't talk to anybody, and then I think 5 or 6, maybe even 10 years ago, finally made amends with his brother Igor, who was a drummer. And then they started a band called the Cavalera Conspiracy. Well, Max did Soulfly, and they started a band called the Cavalera Conspiracy. And then they decided, we wrote all these fucking songs, we should do our own thing with it. So Cavalera got together, and the Cavalera brothers got together and started a tour called Cavalera. They did back, I think it was 2 years ago, they did the entire Roots record, which is not my thing, because I discovered Sepultura because my first one of my first concerts was Ozzy Osbourne in 1986. Jesus fucking Christ. 1996.
It's like,
and
Jesus.
You were you were 5. Yeah.
Exactly. I was 3. I'm the youngest on this podcast by a year. But he was supposed to come to tour on my birthday with the Deftones and Korn. He had to cancel, and thankfully they kicked Korn off the bill because Korn fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And
so much.
Not gonna argue.
And they brought on Sepultura, and I fell in love with this band. I picked up Roots and it was cool, but then I started digging back this old catalog, and they were just this thrash metal band, starting out with Schizophrenia, Morbid Visions, and then Beneath the Remains was kind of their breakout, I think, in 1988. And then 1990 they released Arise. So in this tour they just did this past Friday, they're just playing all of Beneath the Remains and all of Arise, which are 2 of my favorite thrash metal records of all time, especially this Brazilian group. Also Max Cavalera, the front man, looks like Brazilian Jack Black. And if you Google him right now, you'll be like, oh shit, that guy is Jack Black. If he's Brazilian, I see Jody doing it right now. Thank you, Jody. So what I want to do, I was going to say, they played out of this world. Had one of the best times I've ever had at the concert. I mean that from my heart of hearts. Such a great time, such a fun crowd, such a fun show. And so the song I'm going to do is off of the release Beneath the Remains. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do off the album Arise, one of my favorite songs of all time. It is called Dead Embryonic Cells. And one of my favorite songs of all time, with one of the greatest breakdowns in the history of thrash metal, from the masters of Brazilian thrash, Max and Igor Cavalera. And so it is it's by their original name, which is Sepultura.
I need to bring them up on Spotify, because those are one of those bands I always saw the t-shirts of, and I was just like, I couldn't figure out what the hell it was.
Seriously, stop listening at Roots, because after that is when Max left. And let's be honest, he was the front man, was kind of the heart and soul of that band. He really was. And when he left, the band was never the same. I saw them in 98 with Biohazard, and it was when Derek and I joined the band, and they actually played awesome live. I had a great time, but also Biohazard, I thought, blew him off the stage. I became a lifelong Biohazard fan because of that. But seeing the Cavalera brothers playing 2 of the records that like shaped my youth, was that a good show. And Bewitcher opened, and which is a band, if you actually went to bloodygoodhorror.com and read my favorite albums from last year, which is the only article I've written, by the way, because then I got extreme writer's block. It was one of my favorite. It was probably my favorite album of last year was Cursed Be the Kingdom, and they just killed it as well. And overall, just a great time.
So I don't know anything about metal, but I will say yes, Brazilian Jack Black. Yes, that is accurate.
Yeah, and so what's cool is when he came with the encore, he was wearing a shirt by a band called Fulci. And the back of the shirt was the infamous zombie face from Zombie.
Nice.
But that was cool. And they're a cool band too.
I will say I've always there's a character actor named Adrian Martinez who I've always thought is the Mexican Jack Black.
Oh, I pulled this up now. What has he been in?
He was in Focus, Secret Life of Walter Mitty. He's an actor and comedian. And if you look at him, he's it's you definitely kind of see it.
Oh, you do have a type of actor, because if not, you get a football player.
You get a football player. Yes,
problem,
you have to put it. Yes, I should have prefaced.
Oh yes, definitely.
Right?
Oh, I know who he is. He is very great. He is amazing.
He's so funny. Yeah.
While we're talking about football, by the way, Patrick Mahomes is a phenomenal quarterback, but goddamn, does that dude sound like Kermit the Frog? Right? Like,
what's the other thing?
Now I have to. Now I have to
looks,
Google that.
His helmet looks simultaneously too big and too small for his head.
Okay, so I did see this too, but you want to know what? If someone wants to wear a bigger helmet with more padding to protect their brain, fucking do it, dude. Like, do not get concussions.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right.
Yeah.
Tonight, for Jody's segment, we're going to try something a little bit different. Jody.
Yeah. So instead of just doing whatever random trivia I find on the internet. We're going to do a little bit of horror news just to let you all know what's going on in the world of horror. First off, just a quick kind of overall thing. We are in spooky season fully right now, and there are a ton of movies coming out and shows. Chucky season 2 is coming out very soon. Smile, Barbarian, the new Hellraiser series.
Even that series of the movie. Which by the time this comes out, it'll already be out. But that has gotten really great reviews from early screenings. And also, real fast, you know who's going to be in the new Chucky series?
Jennifer Tilly.
You know.
Well, I know. Even Marvel's getting in on the game this time with the Werewolf by Night. Halloween Ends, VHS 99. Have any of y'all watched the trailer for Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, the most recent trailer?
I haven't seen the trailers. No.
Holy crap!
I saw you posted it, and I haven't watched.
I'm excited.
As a man who generally does not watch trailers, is this going to give out too much?
No, because it's a series. There's
it's
lots
an
of
anthology
episodes.
series,
You just get little snippets of what's coming.
Right.
Man, that looks good. Cabinet of Curiosities.
Yeah, that's the hard thing with watching an anthology trailer because it's just all different anthologies mixed up. So you have no clue what anything connects to anything else.
Precisely.
But I will tell you, it gives you a feel for what the series is going to be, and it looks like I was already excited about this because it's Del Toro.
That's kind of it's so perfect.
Reign.
Yeah,
but
perfect.
Looking
like
at this trailer, it looks incredible. You definitely need to check that one out.
Yeah, cool. It doesn't look like he'll be directing any of the episodes.
No, but his hand is definitely on it.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Also, I mean, even just family friendly stuff. I watched Hocus Pocus 2 with my kids last night. It's fun. Does
it deliver? Yeah.
Yeah. So on to some news here.
Yeah.
This is one I'm really excited about. Michael Dougherty, the director of Trick or Treat, of which Godzilla movie?
Godzilla, I think King of Monsters. Yeah.
King of Monsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of gotten bigger, but he has said recently that Trick or Treat 2 is in his quote, a very active development. So
that's
Trick
exciting.
or Treat 2, after many years, is finally starting to come together. And also, if you're a Trick or Treat fan, for the first time ever, some of y'all may not realize this, especially if you're younger. Trick or Treat never got a theatrical release.
Right.
It was one of those movies.
Yeah.
I remember back.
You could bootleg it before it actually came out.
Yeah.
It was absolutely in production hell for so long.
In the early 2000s, it was a movie I heard about. I used to read all of these horror blogs like Joe Blow, Arrow in the Head, things like that. And Trick or Treat came up over and over and over. And it was impossible to see for like 5 or 6 years after it got out.
It's kind of crazy because that was one. The three big ones I remember were that one, House of a Thousand Corpses was in production hell for forever, and All the Boys Love Mandy Lane.
Yeah, I was going to say All the Boys Love Mandy Lane.
That never got released.
Royale.
Yeah.
Battle Royale was the other one that I couldn't see for so long.
Yeah, I think that's an international thing, but
that at least had a release internationally,
right? Just
it wasn't other ones were just in production hell.
But All the Boys Love Mandy Lane was definitely one that I remember from that time. But yeah, Trick or Treat never got a theatrical release. It's getting one this October. So awesome. Look around at your local theaters. You might actually get a chance to see Trick or Treat in theaters for the first time since it came out.
Yeah,
man. And just talking about theater experience, like last year was kind of lame. I think this year we have Halloween Ends. And we're definitely doing that in the podcast. We've already decided.
Sure.
Fun.
What we have Trick or Treat coming out. Terrifier 2 is going to be out by the time you hear this.
Yeah.
All right. I love Terrifier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing about Terrifier. I was not a fan of Terrifier, but I loved Art the Clown enough that I want him to be in a better movie than the first Terrifier.
So I do love Terrifier, but whenever I hear anybody bash it and tell me the reasons why, I'm like, yeah, that's all valid, and I respect that. I'll never tell anybody they're wrong for not liking that movie. That's one of those movies I think I watched at the right time.
Yeah, you have to definitely be in the place for that movie.
That makes sense. Now it's not in a good place. So
yeah,
I wanted some violence. The Monsters will be out by this time. Well, it's not in theaters.
It's out now. Yeah,
it's out now. Yeah,
it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
No, here's the reality right now. I think we are in a current golden age of horror.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh,
This
I
year has
agree
been
with you.
crazy.
So much. I can't even keep up with it.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
like pandemic backlog or
Yeah.
what, but this year has been
I just
insane.
feel like 2022 is going to be one of those years they talk about in the future. That when if you look back at the 80s, you're like 1982 was a huge year for horror. I think in 20 years, people are going to say, "Oh, remember 2022?"
Well,
That
I mean,
was a huge year.
I mean, already we've had we've had Barbarian, Black Phone, Bodies, all
mean,
all,
we
all,
had
all
Scream
extremely
and
memorable.
X.
Scream.
We're like still in this year.
The movie that still might be in my number one might be Fresh.
Yeah, I was gonna say Fresh.
Fresh is
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
Sadness,
that's really
the,
good.
is a fantastic streaming movie.
That video that I'm putting on YouTube I did with the guy who's a collector. He has the leg from Fresh.
That's so cool.
nice.
Oh wow!
Just I should have teased some of the things, but yeah, he has the leg from Fresh, and also he has the tongue of the xenomorph from Alien 3, the one in the iconic shot
dude.
My goodness, wow!
going up against when the aliens were up against Ripley. Yeah,
X
Wow.
came out this year.
X came out. It's so
Prey
crazy.
came out this year.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Nope.
and we already have Pearl. Yeah,
We already mentioned stuff's coming out. Like, holy
It's
shit!
insane. It is
Yeah.
There's so many
absolutely
great things to
insane.
look forward to.
Another piece of horror news. This year on The Simpsons, if you still watch it, which I'm going to go ahead and say you should still be watching The Simpsons. It went through a kind of dry period, but it's come back. The new episodes are good. The last season was good. I'm excited about it. But this year, for the very first time, instead of just getting the annual Treehouse of Horror, we are going to be getting more horror. On October 23rd, we are getting an episode that is fully a parody of the movie It. And that's the whole 30 minutes. And then the next week, on the 30th, we get the traditional Treehouse of Horror with 3 stories. So
that's very.
I
Fun.
love The Simpsons. The Treehouse of Horror is one of my favorite
Oh, it's
episodes
always-
every
yeah.
year.
The
Yeah.
shitting.
And so
Come
this
on.
year to get even the shinning.
Oh, so good.
The best. But
Yeah.
this year we get even more. Treehouse.
That's very exciting. I admittedly I tuned out of Simpsons, long ago, but I did recently do a binge of all of the Treehouse of Horrors,
Yeah.
Mhm.
one after the other, and that was a lot of fun.
There's so
Treehouse
much
of Horror, even in the kind of down seasons, Treehouse of Horror has always been a high point.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we're getting a whole It episode before the Treehouse of Horror, just fantastic. I'm very excited about that.
Have you seen the meme where the guy's like, my computer doesn't work, and his boss goes, give it to the IT guy, and the next panel is him throwing it in the gutter. He goes, I don't know how this is gonna help, but we'll see.
Amazing. Yes. See if it floats. Yeah.
One of my favorite Treehouse of Horror gags was always when groundskeeper Willie comes
Mhm.
in.
Always tries
fire.
to save them and always gets hacked to death.
Well, the one he runs inside because he's on fire.
Yes.
That's when he becomes Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
And he's like, help. And like groundskeeper Willie, you don't have the floor. Please
Yeah,
wait.
yes.
And
Oh,
he just
yeah,
goes
yes.
and
Oh,
sits
yeah.
down and waits for his turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Oh, Mr. Van Houten has the floor. Yeah.
Yes.
But speaking of that It episode, if you are an artist right now, go to The Simpsons on Twitter at The Simpsons, and they want your creepiest, scariest versions of Krusty the Clown. If you can draw some creepy Krusty the Clown, it might actually be featured on the episode on the 23rd. So just a
Casey
cool
from Bloody
way-
Good Horror, we're looking at you.
Yeah, absolutely. If you like to draw, that's a fun way to maybe end up on TV on The Simpsons.
And you can't do it in AI. No cheating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make something.
My
last-
other favorite gag from that same episode, Mongo, is when they're talking about how the all start on the 13th hour, the 13th day of the 13th month. We were there to
yes.
discuss the misprinted calendars the school purchased. And Homer goes, "Damn smarch."
Smart.
Oh.
Yeah, when you mentioned the groundskeeper Willie, I thought I thought of the gag from the season before where he tries to save the kids and gets hacked to death, gets an axe in the back
Mhm.
each time, and then by the third time he just goes, "I'm bad at this."
And our last little piece of horror news. Is anyone a fan of the movie The Nun? I was not a fan.
I have actually never seen it because, again, Jody, you being my litmus test for a lot of movies, when you bash it, I'm like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, the Nun was a huge disappointment to me because when at the time I had AMC A-List or Movie Pass or one of those things, and they were showing tons of trailers for it, and the trailer for the Nun was great. They had this one scare where this like nun comes out from the side, good jump scare. The movie was not great.
Yeah,
but they are making the Nun 2 because gotta keep milking the cash cow.
Nunner.
And but the one thing that I am kind of excited about, Thaisa Farmiga, sister of Vera Farmiga, the star of The Final Girls, which is a movie I absolutely love.
She's fantastic.
Yeah. Thaisa is going to be reprising her role as Sister Irene, so she will be continuing the Nun franchise in that role.
Good.
She was
She's
kind
great.
of a highlight of that movie, which was not a great movie. So
Is it going to be like Nun 2 Back in the Habit?
Yeah. I think they've already used that in something.
Yeah, none of the above. Yeah.
Yeah, but so Thaisa Farmiga, Simpsons, Trick or Treat 2, all kinds of good stuff coming down the pike.
I have to say, it always it's always a sort of it always breaks my brain to realize that that Thaisa and Vera are sisters.
Yeah. No, yeah. I 100%. The first time I talked about something she was in, I'm like, Vera Farmiga's daughter was in this, and I'm like, nope, that's her sister.
Yeah, but I mean, there is. I mean, I think they technically could be mother and daughter. I think there is like a 17 or
huge gap.
There's like a 17 or 18 year difference. I mean, I think it is that great of an age gap.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Vera Farmiga's great. Taste is great.
Oh, they're fantastic.
They're fantastic family.
So good.
Actors.
Yeah.
All right, Jody, thank you for the horror news. All right, let's round out with some dad advice. And while I was thinking about this episode, like what can we pull from this episode? And
I have something based on something that Jody just said. If we can go that route, because it's
getting
getting late and I am really tired. I hate to say this, but Jody mentioned that the Nun looked so good because he saw all these trailers for the Nun, right? So this might not be dad advice for us older people, maybe for our younger listeners, that it's a real thing with social media and depression and people feeling like their lives aren't complete because they see people on social media that have these very, very complete, fulfilling, whatever, happy lives. Social media is not a representation of anybody's life. It is a trailer with all the bad shit cut out, much like the Nun, where they cut out all the shitty stuff and showed you the good stuff. Or like if you watch a highlight reel of Glenn Jacobs, aka Kane, from WWE's career, you cut out all the stupid shit he did, and you cut out the parts about him hating women and hating minorities. So when you see social media, what you do see is the highlights and the trailer of someone's life. So you should never take that to heart. You should never feel depressed because you think someone has a better life than you, et cetera, et cetera. Because no one's showing you, no one's showing you the trials and the tribulations and the struggles and everything that took to get where they're at, or took to, or they deal with in every day to day. People just want to show you the triumphs, which is easy to do. It's not vulnerable. It's not realistic. So, and I know, like I was reading an article actually just yesterday, but they believe that that depression is more rampant among younger people. Granted, everyone I think at some point it has dealt with something like this, but it's more rampant in young people because of the overuse and the abundance of social media and how it gives people the what is it called? What do the kids call it? The FOMO? The FOMO? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fucking nailed it. And but that's a lot of what people get because they think that this person might have this wonderful, amazing, perfect life. When in reality, it doesn't mean someone's life is bad. But as all of us deal with, like, we've all dealt with rough stuff in life. We all have, and it's. Some days are better than other days. Some days are worse than other days. And we all deal with it. But we're not going to come here on this podcast and just fucking rant about how shitty our life is, even if the Hollywood Inn Express in downtown Los Angeles fucked us. But we're here to. But what I mean though is, like, don't ever compare yourself to someone else or compare your life to someone else's social media and their life, because that's just a fucking trailer. And as we've seen from being horror fans or being movie fans for most of our lives, that trailers don't show you the bad shit. They just show you the good stuff. And sometimes you have to sit down and watch the movie to find out what the bad stuff is. And sometimes you walk away thinking, oh yeah, That's some bullshit.
And I mean, to run with that knowledge even more, sometimes you watch a trailer, it's all the best parts are right there. Then like the other 98 minutes and 89 minutes or whatever it is of the movie is terrible. Like I said, it's like a little keyhole into it. And it's funny because I actually earlier today, I was just zooming through Instagram, whatever, and most of my like shorts or whatever or reels or whatever they are like food stuff. So
exactly.
I saw one, I was like, oh, that looks interesting. Let me see what else they got. And there were some other interesting ones, but like every other one, they were like talking about a product, but they like talked about it in the exact same way, like this like really like dead, like soulless manner. And I was just, and like, but like the first one was like, okay, that's a little weird. But then I kept going, and like every time they advertised something, it was like, hi, this is John. Do you like this product? Like it was bizarre.
Were they talking while they were smiling?
I mean, kind of. They're like, I don't know. It was just like really soulless.
I would say never trust someone that smiles when they talk about mundane bullshit, because they're trying to convince you that the shit's exciting when it's not.
I think they were. I think they were trying to be enthusiastic about whatever it was they're talking.
I mean, even my own social media. If you look at my Instagram, like I enjoy cooking. I like making food, and when I make good food, I tend to take a picture of it and share it because I like sharing stuff. It's fun. So if you look at my social media, you see all of the like fancy meals I cook. You don't see the hot pockets.
Dude, Jody,
there's some getting by food. Jody, I'm in cereal at 2 a.m.
Ooh, I'm in for the Count Chalk and the hot pockets, baby. You just post that shit.
There's nothing wrong with any of that, man. But like, it's there. Like, it's just reality is not what people present. It's a very curated selection of the stuff they think is the coolest. Although the Nun trailer did not include the fact that there is literally like a hand grenade that had Jesus blood in it that they throw at the nun.
Oh,
what? Come on. Yeah, that exists.
Wow, that's cool.
I kind of want to see that movie.
Yeah, see that.
Yeah,
I really want to see it again.
Jesus' grenade launcher.
Wait.
I really kind of want to watch The Nun again, but with a fresh pair of eyes, not expecting it to be good, but like expecting it to be crazy. So
is Lin Shaye in it?
She is not, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
But there is a Jesus blood hand grenade. I'm not joking.
Just a little footnote. I think we should mention that Kane is the only known wrestler to hate women and minorities.
He's definitely not, but he's the only one that holds public office.
Yes,
that has no problem talking about how much he hates women.
Yeah, I get maybe one of the more vocal, but there's a lot of there's a lot of misogynist and racist wrestlers out there.
I'm just saying it makes way more sense now that they pretended like he and the Undertaker were brothers. If you heard the Undertaker talk about anything post wrestling,
not a good look. Not a good look.
All right, I think that wraps up another episode. Galen, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you?
Oh, thank you so much, guys. I'm on Twitter at _Galen _ Howard and much simpler at Instagram, Galen Howard, all one word. Find me and watch me post dumb shit.
Awesome. All right, next week we will be reviewing House of Horror.
Very fun episode.
We appreciate everyone for listening. We really appreciate it if you would give us a rating and review on iTunes or rating on Spotify. Check out our Patreon for bonus content. And also check out our YouTube for videos of these podcasts. And with that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Adios.
Adioso.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.